Training plateaus are something that everyone struggles with, and if you've been training for a long time, you've certainly fallen into this category. As someone who went from starting strongman to winning the world's strongest man in about 4.5 years, I have experience with avoiding these plateaus in every way possible. Stick around to the end. I'm going to give you the #1 most valuable tip that's probably common sense, but it needs to be said. Let's start first with periodization. Now, periodization is simply just referring to your larger structure to the program. We start with a microcycle, which is your training over a week. We then go to a mesocycle, which is usually a block of training somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks for most people. Then we go to the macrocycle, which is some combination of mesocycles. You could call this the whole year. You could call this a whole phase of your training, whatever it may be. Now, the issue that most people get into when we talk about periodization is that they think that the goal needs to entirely change. I'm doing strength for 4 weeks. Now I'm doing aerobic endurance for 4 weeks. I'm doing muscle hypertrophy for 4 weeks, where this is just not true. Effective periodization is the art of changing things enough that it's a different stimulus, but keeping them similar enough that we are building on top of what we did last block. If I'm doing a 12-week muscle building mesocycle, I'm thinking the first 4 weeks might verge on muscular endurance, where I'm doing a lot of 12 to 15 rep ranges. I might keep the same movements in for the entire 12 weeks, but I go from a rep range of 12 to 10 to 8 to 6. And so over every 2 or 3 week chunk, I'm now changing the rep range slightly. You could also do this with movement quality, with tempo, with explosive work. You can change stimulus in many different ways. With periodization, the most important thing to get right is that you are consistently following a program and following the principles of progressive overload. Now, to reiterate, progressive overload doesn't have to mean that every single session you're doing more weight and more weight and more weight. It could mean you're doing the same weight slower, the same weight with better movement, I should say intentionally slower, the same weight faster and explosive. You could do the same weights but improve your movement quality. You could do the same weight and increase reps by 1 or increase sets by 1. There's many different ways that we can practically apply progressive overload that doesn't necessarily have to just be adding more load. This is probably one of the most difficult things to get right and where most people find the most value in a coach. I offer a coaching option where you can speak to me every week, you get your videos reviewed, and every single week we do an educational seminar, 1 hour long, where you can ask questions and I'll cover a given topic. Go ahead, check the link in the description. I will help you sort out all of your periodization, all of your programming, as well as upskilling your education for the long run. Now, periodization is #1. #2 is plateauing always needs a reference. What most people get wrong here is that people don't understand that you have to measure what you're going to plateau in. If you're thinking you're plateauing in strength, well, that's fine, but we need to measure strength over a long period of time. If you think you're plateauing in aesthetics, we need to measure aesthetics in some quantitative way over a period of time. The way that we do this is simply periodic tests of 1 rep max. Now, we don't want to do this too frequently, but if you test this every 6 to 12 weeks when you're trying to get stronger, that's a reasonable place for an intermediate person to begin to start thinking about where's my strength actually going? Where is it coming from? And is my lower body getting stronger, my upper body not getting stronger? The troubleshooting becomes impossible if you simply give a crack on a bench press after a strength block, and then you give a crack after a hypertrophy block, and you give a crack after a muscular endurance block, because then we're just sort of spinning our tires where you're not improving, you're just improving other qualities. And the test you do has to directly reflect the quality that you're looking for. Now, I'm talking in the context of strength, but if we're talking in the context of muscular endurance, well, choose a weight that you can do for 20 reps. Hit 20 reps. If that's a max effort, great. That's your new 20 rep max. Next time you test, after a muscular endurance block, you're gonna use the same weight and see, can I do more than 20? And if you do 22 reps or 25 reps, you've improved the quality that you're training to improve. You will not have improved your 1 rep max because you're just not prepared for those types of weights. #3 is the hardest to describe, but one of the most important to me. Like I said, I went 4 years from starting strongman to becoming the world's strongest man, and mentally it was a big struggle to think that I might be capable of more than I'm capable right now. Setting mental limits is something that a lot of people do, and they get in their own way. It's hard to think, I'm someone who benches 225, and I do it for sets of 5, but as soon as I hit 235, 245, I can't even do it for a single. One really useful tool for me, if you Google 1 rep max calculator, there's a very nice chart there that tells you, if you do this for 5, you should be able to do this. If you do this for 10, you should be able to do this. And it gives it to you as a multiple. And so then you can start to go, okay, if I can bench press 200 for 5 reps, That's 87% of what my 1 rep max is. Excuse me, it's 13% less than what my 1 rep max is. So if you're benching 200 pounds, that means you can actually bench 226. And now we have a mathematical way to tell yourself you can do this if you prepare yourself properly and you don't get in your own way. We all know the stories of someone who was going for a 1 rep max and their friend added a little bit of extra weight on the side and they hit it and they didn't even know that there was more weight on the bar. Getting rid of your own mental limits, not just for training, but for life, is one of the things that I find is the biggest problem with most people. You don't realize what you're able to accomplish. Simply put the weight on the bar, do the movement like you've always done it. Don't think this is my new landmark 315, because you know what? As soon as you squat 315, now you're just gonna think about 365. This is a process that never stops, and the more you can stay out of your own way, the better off you're going to be. Point number 4, surround yourself with strong people. I train out of a commercial gym, and the thing a lot of people get wrong is they train out of commercial gyms too. Not to say that there's anything wrong per se, but if you're in a commercial gym and you deadlift 500 pounds, you're probably one of the strongest people there. If you deadlift 500 pounds at a strength gym, at a powerlifting gym, you are probably the weakest person there. And your goal should be to surround yourself with people who are stronger than you. Not just because you're gonna learn from them from a technical aspect, but in conjunction with point number 3, you're gonna see what's possible. You're gonna see that deadlifting 500, 600, 700 pounds, well, now maybe I could do that because I see that done on a regular basis. When I transferred from a commercial gym to a strength gym, my strength went through the roof simply because I got out of my own way and I realized that I could do what these guys are doing. Get yourself to a strength gym and you'll be achieving point number 4 in never hitting another plateau. Now for my most important tip, and it is not even close. This is more important than your program. This is more important than any recovery you're doing, more important than nutrition, than anything. And that is be consistent at the gym. Do what you can do for a very long time. There's a lot of people who go and they're on this kick and it's my winter kick and I'm gonna get strong and bulk up, and they aim to get strong for 3 months and then they get a bit sad that, oh, I'm a bit fluffier than I used to be, so now they totally changed tack, or they got busy at job, or seasonal depression, or I go on vacation in the summer and they just simply stop training. I have not missed a training day, a scheduled training day, in over a decade because it is something that is part of my life and something that I love to do. Getting into the gym and doing a shitty workout every day for 10 years will get you miles further than doing a perfect workout every day for 3 years. The biggest thing with being consistent, of people who wants to be consistent, is injury. And avoiding injury is a major, major component of becoming strong, fit, aesthetic, anything. If you get injured, you're naturally gonna take a few steps backwards. I've had some big injuries myself, and I've covered a lot in terms of what is gonna stop you from getting injured. But simply put, if you tick off these 3 boxes, you will not get injured on a regular basis. Number 1, your programming has to be appropriate and your progressive overload has to be appropriate, and you have to take deloads. Get your programming and your deloads right and you're off to a very good start. Number 2, if you have your nutrition in a good spot where you're getting all of your macro and micronutrients and you're relatively well hydrated, that is gonna do really well for you. And number 3, if you're sleeping adequately and you're getting good, high quality sleep, that will help you tremendously as well. I have for free my guide to recovery. Go ahead and pick that up. It expands on all those 3 points. And I'm telling you, consistency at the gym is the number 1 thing, and it is going to be interrupted by any time that you get injured because you're not recovering effectively. Let me know if you guys think I missed anything. And again, the link for group coaching is in the bio. If you want to chat to me every week and have me sort your program for you, join a community of like-minded people. We would love to have you on the team. As per usual, lift heavy, be kind, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you in the next video.